Welcome to another episode of Healing Money Talks. My name is Emma Lucy Wall, and I invite you to put the kettle on. Make yourself a warm drink, find a comfortable place to sit and relax, and listen deeply to the conversation that's about to unfold. You never know what you might hear. And my very special guests today are Sarah Jennings and Hazel Moore. Sarah is a creative kinesiologist and founder of the Visibility Gateway and Heart Retrieval and an Aura Mediator instructor. And Hazel is the founder of Spiritual Mastery and a director with Cfx, a Forex trading company. Welcome, ladies. And I forgot. And I am Emma Lucy Wall, and I call myself the Tantric Money Healer. Because the energy around money is more interesting to me than the energy of money. I see money as how we value exchange, and it's the energy that we move it around us that really interests me. We've been using it in a space of fear and lack and shame and guilt for many, many centuries for whatever reasons. And it's time now to bring it out with love and abundance, generosity and kindness. So welcome, ladies. Thank you both for joining me this morning.
Hi.
Hazel, would you like to tell us a little bit about your background and your journey with money? I know it's been quite an interesting one.
Well, yes. Hi, everybody. My name is Hazel and I live in England. And I started my spiritual journey, if you like. And what I mean by that is my mind and my heart opening up to many other realities, to the invisible, that which is invisible to most people. And I helped people with personal development, their spiritual growth, connecting to the higher spheres, navigating those higher spheres, linking into limiting beliefs, changing those to limitless beliefs, and all of that I know many of your listeners, Emma and Sarah, are very, very familiar with. Now, that journey of over 35 years took a very profound change just over 4 years ago. And I actually prayed to be stinking rich. And they were the very words that I used, because I understood that the shift that we need on this planet amongst every single human being is a monetary one. That's the first primary that we need to understand, because whether we like it or not, we are born into a system that uses money to evaluate us, to create opportunity, and to take us all forward into thriving. And unless we are Indigenous peoples living in a forest somewhere, we all need it. So we're all trying to navigate our way to a better life on this planet. Each and every one of us wants the same thing. And there are many people that do not separate themselves from other people. And on the other hand, there are many people that do, by using labels of, I'm spiritual, I'm psychic, I'm a minister, I'm a vicar, whatever. They use all of these labels, but at the end of the day, we all need one thing in common, and that's money, so that we can ourselves survive without dysregulating our nervous systems too much. And let's face it, our nervous systems are dysregulated almost from the time we are born until the time we leave the planet. And money is a great stressor with that, or lack of. So 4 years ago, that was my prayer, because I realized that's what the world needs to shift the balance of power. So I started my journey the very next day after that prayer, and an email came into my inbox all about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And that was the very start of my journey. And I jumped right in. It was a roller coaster of a journey. I started to understand how really wealthy people think. Some of it good, a lot of it not so good. But I really got into their minds and understood at the end of it all, which brings me to today, how the wealthy elite manage their money, how they thrive and create legacies for generation after generation. And that information was never shared with the masses, us at school. We were never taught that. I was taught algebra and all of that stuff, but I wasn't taught how to manage money, and my parents certainly weren't. So I lost a lot of money. I joined platforms and projects from ne'er-do-wells whose intentions were not good. Their intention was just to take the money and then close the platform down and run off literally with millions. But I also came across companies that had really, really good intentions. But what they didn't have was the technical ability or knowledge to roll out to the masses a program, a project that would really enable all of us to start thriving. That is until I came across a company called Cfx, and that was in 2019. They'd already tested all of the things that they were going to roll out to the people and decided in 2019, right, the time is now. And what I liked about the two owners of the company, because I did a lot of research after my roller coaster of a journey, and I found that they are aligned with the spirit, which is what the world, many people call God, but they are aligned with truth and philanthropy. And they wanted to bring to ordinary people like you and me the ability to plug into a system that would, over maybe 4 or 5 years, make each and every one of us wealthy in our own right. And more than that, it has become a mission. It's become a real game changer with this company to bring on board over 1 million people. That is their vision in the next year or two. So they've got a very strong vision. These men, the two owners of the company, are extremely wealthy in their own right. They do not need to do what they're doing. They're doing it because it's a calling, and that's how they talk about it. And I have found that all of the people that are attracted to this company to take part in what they're offering, we all are of the same, or, you know, the majority are of the same mindset. And I know the people that have been attracted to me with what I'm sharing now with the world, you know, you're all of the same mindset, because I don't want it any other way, you know. And I could touch on now that if you Google CFX, which is a Forex trading company, you will come across a lot of dark and negative words and energy. And I want to explain here and now, for the people that are listening to this, that we live and are born into a world of polarity consciousness. And that means whatever we do, however good our intention is, the opposite will always come into our energy field as well. That's a given. It's the law, as much as night and day is law on this planet. So if after listening to this chat that us three ladies are having, you decide to Google it, please bear that in mind. Bear that in mind, that you will always get the opposite. And dark energy holds us in gravity, unlike the light, which enables us to go up and out and expand. So if you within yourself have any doubt, conflict, or limiting beliefs and fears around your money story, you are going to come up against this. Mm-hmm. So that essentially, Emma and Sarah, is where I'm coming from. So yeah.
Thank you. You talked about that shift, and Sarah, you had a very similar experience, didn't you? You said that when you, well, tell us your story.
I mean, my money story starts quite recently in a way, because I have been, obviously, my thing is helping healers or wellness practitioners become visible on like be confident on camera, be visible with what they do, stand up and talk about their work, because they're very passionate, it's mission driven, it's like, I have to do this. They can see like beyond what a lot of people can see and are in a position to help, but often are a sinking ship in themselves when it comes to money, because they can't afford to live, or they charge what they seems to be average, hourly rate or something, is actually not livable, really. Certainly if it's a parent, if you're a family and you've got kids, and then, to be a healer, you kind of, you need to be in a good position yourself. You need to be in a state, quite a good state in your own system. And you actually work a lot better when you feel secure and safe than you do if you're in survival and scrapping around like, So, and I've done well because I've always valued what I'm doing, and I know it's sort of priceless. So I've always not had a problem asking for, doing the selling thing. So that's what I've been trying to help healers with, in a way, is how do we get to that certainty and pride, and like, I belong here, I actually have something to offer, and I have to put a value on this at the moment, and this is the system we're in. And a lot of healers actually are like, money's bad, asking for money is terrible, it's evil, all this stuff. And it stems right back into history, a lot of these patterns. And it's not safe to talk about this work because it's, in the past you might have been hung, burnt, or any of those kind of things. And then but also money has got this whole stigma around it. And I think what I realized is a lot of us had like these, or have these like blinkers on of like, oh, I don't know how money works, I haven't thought about the future, and I haven't got a pension, and I don't know how I'll survive when I'm old. And it's like, hang on, shouldn't we be thinking about that? And then I started thinking like, well, all these other people are thinking like that. And, like the normal people, or the, like rich people, they've all got a plan. They all know how the system works. They're kind of making investments. They're not just spending the money and then running out and then going, how am I going to make the next bit? And oh God, my pots run low. So, you find with healers, they either charge by the hour, or they do a program, like sell a 6-week program and all that kind of thing. And when the pot runs dry, you're in the creative urge is coming from a survival place rather than an abundant place. And I really was like, I'm fed up of that. Like, I am so fed up of that I'm super creative. And yes, when I can rest, actually recently I've rested just maybe a weekend or something, which is just about enough for me. And then all the ideas are popping out of my head, and it's exciting, and I want to go and do them. So it's not really financially motivated, it's that creative momentum. And I think a lot of healers would do a lot better if they were coming from a creative momentum rather than a survival one. Mm-hmm. So when about a year ago, it must have been about a year ago, or maybe it's bubbling for a while, I'm like, I have had enough of this this way of working, and it's not got a long view, it's not very clever, and I'm not really thinking beyond like next month or next year or something. So I just went, right, that's changing. So I, again, a bit like Hazel, it was like next day the journey started, and suddenly I was hearing and I mean, Hazel have been friends on Facebook for about 6 years. We did a bit of work together quite a long time ago. And I kind of watched her mentioning Bitcoin and things, and was like, oh, for years. But when my money story changed, I started watching a bit more closely what Hazel's doing. And then I was in her group, and then I think and I was like, oh, it sounds too good to be true and all that thing. And then started watching, like, lots of people we'll explain this, I'm sure, but upgrading their packages and all that kind of thing. And I was like, wow, it is working, like passive income in a way. It's kind of okay. And then I watched a video of Hazel showing her back office, and it was like possibly the first time she upgraded the final package. She was renewing it, so that's like the goal, which I'm sure we'll explain in a minute. But I watched, and I just saw how much was in her back office that she'd made since starting her Cfx journey, and I was like, pretty good. And then I watched, I don't know, maybe 4 months later, she did it again, renewed her final package the second time, and this time the money had tripled. It was like 382,000 or some ridiculous number, and I was like, whoa. So I've been watching your journey and seen it work, and I'm like, well, you don't need much more evidence than that, do you really? And then I was like, I'm actually wasting time by not getting on this now, and I actually regret, well, I don't really do regrets, but there's that part of me that's like, well, it would have been good if I'd started that 6 months ago. But anyway, I'm on the journey, and it's actually been the same as Hazel wanting to call in. At the moment, I'm not even sharing it on my social media, you know, my Facebook page, because I know Hazel's mentioned this before herself, but, you know, it's like I don't want to have the arguments at the moment. And I'm not in the place to be like, oh, what are you doing? And that's such a leap. One, I'm sure I will, but right now, no. But I'm sharing it in my own little group, and I'm inviting people, mostly healer types that I've been supporting and helping in different ways, and going like, this is a great way for you to be able to do what you're doing. You know, those that feel really bad about charging more money or whatever, it's actually quite a good option. But obviously they have to do their own research and so on. But yeah, I've basically shared it with close friends that trust me and people that I like having around me, really, because that's the kind of vibe I get from Hazel's group, is they're all lovely people and everyone's supporting each other and congratulating each other. So it's a really good vibe. It's not like some weird, you know, high-powered weird marketing place. It's like actually good people wanting to
dimensional, actually, Sarah. It's all fifth dimensional, which is about fulfilling our purpose, but being supported financially at another level. Yeah. So we are all here, people like, you know, everyone listening to this, we can fulfill our purpose without worrying about financial support. And that is the way, to me, that life was always intentioned. And if we want to expand our consciousness into where everyone is thriving, that's what people that know us think about as fifth dimension. And we're already in it. And the more sure we are of our money story, the more sure we are that it's all limitless. But I'm not just talking about in the head, it's a visceral thing. This is a visceral thing that the body communicates to us. And if you don't have that in the body, then you are not embodying these principles. It's still airy-fairy out there. It's still a concept. It must be in the body, and you must feel that resonance all the way through your tailbone down to your toes. And then we are a clean vessel. And that's when the boundaries of those who live on the dark side of polarity, let's just say, they come up against your boundary. And because, for example, myself, I am mostly living in the fifth dimension, they can't hook into me because I don't have any of that nonsense going on, you know? When I was at that level, of course, it was painful. It was excruciatingly stressful to me to live there, which forced me, obviously, to look at myself. And now, and mostly, yeah, to my financial journeys, because we are living in dangerous times. And if people don't get that, then, you know, they have to stay at that where they are, because the money system is changing in front of our eyes today, not tomorrow, today, right now. And the corrupt banking system that we're all used to is going to infiltrate what others are trying to do to bring an honest financial system to the world. They're going to infiltrate that, and it's going to be even more difficult to discern the truth against the lies. And that is happening right now, the same way that it's happening with artificial intelligence and all of this technical stuff. You know yourself that you've probably seen celebrities being imposed like a hologram thing, and you don't know if it's the real person or not, but someone's programmed that to send out a message that is all lies, and it's been apportioned to that particular celebrity. That is what is happening in front of us. So if we don't get our alignment with all that is really, really powerfully aligned, it's going to be a really dangerous, even more dangerous than it is now. And I don't say that lightly, because of what I've experienced and what other people are experiencing. But having said that, I have the faith and the trust that we are, you know, it's like a dirty oven, isn't it? And we're cleaning it all and we're scrubbing it all, and it's just filthy, and your hands are filthy, and it's on the floor. I think, oh my goodness, the mess of the cleanup. But eventually that oven gets sparkly clean. And we've got about a window of 10 years to for us to get this message across to as many people as we can before that timeline merges, and some of us go on that timeline and others stay where they were. So a lot of people, you know, the healers and the therapists and the coaches and so on, and I was one of them. I always used to think, yeah, I'm good, I'm well cared for financially. But that wasn't enough. That is not enough to shift the balance of power, because money is power. Yeah, our mind and our heart is the greatest power, but the second one is money. You bring those two together and you've cracked it, whether you use that for the power of good or for the power of bad, you know. But there's enough of us now. There's enough of us coming into this understanding that we're congregating together, and we're going to do this. And I have no doubt in my heart that CFX is going to make a lot of millionaires in 2021. I'm on that trajectory. Sarah's on that trajectory. Everyone in my group is on that trajectory. And the 200,000 plus people in CFX are on that trajectory. And you can start with as little as $300. Now, that might be a lot of money to some people, you know, and I know it is, but we have many people in CFX that have been homeless, literally on the streets, and they have found that money to get involved. We've got an awful lot of people from the African continent who are thriving. And if you know anything about Africa, you know how suppressed they have been, that many of them are unbanked. All that is changing. And so many now are thriving, and there is no excuse. You know, people have sold bits of jewelry, they've sold stuff they don't want to get that $300 together, because that is all you need, a one-time contract. And from there, you just keep upgrading your contract with your daily profit on the Forex market, which currently is 1 to 2% per day. And I will say that traditional banks, we're lucky if we get 1 to 3% a year. That's what the banks have done to us. They have taken our money and they have invested it, whether it's been on the stock market or the Forex market, which is the biggest in the world. The Forex market is a $6+ trillion a day financial market, way beyond Wall Street and the stock market. And the banks have been putting our money there, and they make a fortune and give us 1 to 2% a year. You know, how corrupt is that? That is so bad. That is so bad when people are starving and people are so stressed out. You know all of that. But that's the first thing people need to look at is, okay, how much am I getting from my savings account? And one lady who came in to CFX with $20,000, she bought a $20,000 contract. And she had an ISA account, which is like a savings account here in the UK. And I think she was telling me, don't quote me the exact figures, but it was something like in 3 months, she got about £3.50 on that. Well, in CFX, she gets, I can draw it up and show you, you know, a few thousand a week on that, you know. So this is what we're talking about, where the rubber meets the road, and we're all on that trajectory to be financially free. So shall I carry on about what CFX is about?
Just something I wanted to just quickly pick up on 2 things that you said there, Hazel. One was that money is changing beyond, in front of our eyes. Last night, I did a little meditation with somebody with money, and we were like, who uses cash at the moment anyway?
Yeah.
And Bitcoin, the whole cryptocurrency is it's certainly moving around in my field. I'm aware of it all the time. And the other thing that you touched on, which is quite a danger, maybe it is a word that is quite a charged word, but it's the word power. And actually there's all that stuff comes up about power, about how power corrupts, but actually money makes us more of what we are. So if we're good people, it expands. And I love the way you keep doing this with your arms. We were having this conversation before. Sarah was talking about how so much we get stuck in this old paradigm and it all comes down. And I love this embodiment of the expansion, and making power actually a beautiful thing. It doesn't have to be ugly, and it can be for everybody. It's us taking control of our lives in this crazy time where so much control is being taken away from us. So yes, did you want to share were you about to share a screen?
No, I was not going to share a screen. But yeah, that is a mindset shift, isn't it? That many people need to have, that power is a really good thing. Power is love, isn't it? That song years ago. But yeah, it is a really good thing. But power and money going together isn't the problem, is it? People are afraid of their own power. Yeah. They're afraid of those emotions, those feelings that run through their bodies. That's what they're afraid of. That's what they need to come to terms with, not money, but that power. It's like, you know, when the power flows through me, that I'm going to use for good or bad, which is my spirit, it is literally like a fire hose. You know, that is a lot of power to have to balance and pace through this human form. You know, that's what people need to work on, not a limiting belief about, oh, I don't know if I'm good enough. It's like, how am I going to handle this power? Someone can show me how to do that. Someone take my hand, you know? And yeah.
I've ride my power, like I've had to almost learn to ride it rather than it push me.
It's exhausting. If you let it push you, you know, it's exhausting, isn't it? We've got to pace it through us and, you know, learn to handle it.
And lots of healers are channeling that stuff.
They are.
Yes. That power and what they have done with it, because it's scary, and because, like Sarah said, you know, in past lifetimes, they've been ducked, drowned, burned, hanged, hung, drawn, and quartered, all sorts of things for these divine gifts. And no wonder it's in our sort of operating system. But this is the time to start to cut it through.
But there's enough information, isn't there, out there, Emma? You know, we've all had these past lives. I've had thousands upon thousands of past lives, and a lot of them not good. But, you know, it's I just got over it.
Yeah.
I just got over it. It's that simple. We're very complex, aren't we? We're very complex beings with all of these emotions that get tangled up like a ball of wool that a kitten's got hold of, and we have to straighten them all out one by one. But there comes a time when you can't keep digging for a deeper reason. We don't need to know it. But some people, they get stuck there, don't they? I've got to keep digging for this. And I just say to them, you don't have to, just stop. And I find that, you know, that they need a shock. People need a shock to stop doing it.
I've got a few things I wanted to bring in because of what you were saying a while back now, but it's kind of ties in with this, that something I've always noticed that everything with healers seems to be amplified. It's like kind of adding like this power to whatever the issue is or the block or whatever. It's like a bit more like times 10 every time. So it feels more powerful and more like, whoa.
But that's because they're not in their bodies properly, Sarah. That's when it seems more powerful and charged, because they're not in their body and they haven't processed it through their guts.
And that's what I'm gonna say. If you tie in the awareness that, oh, things need to change, or like I need to focus maybe on money or the future or security or understanding what's happening, you can't just think about it. It has to be, you have to act. That was the bit I wanted to say, is like aligning, like you use the word aligning to this, but then it's not just aligning and maybe journaling about it. It's like you've got to align and take steps. So that means maybe doing some research, bending your mind around things you've never thought about. Like that's what I've actually loved about this, is that I'm like, it's like finding a new language but being able to read it but not quite understanding what it's all about. And then I think that to get away from the fear of like, oh, I don't understand all this is way too much for me, I've never looked at my bank account even, it's almost it's a total like a stretch of the mind. And what I noticed with I changed my money story, and overnight things started shifting, and found Hazel stuff, and joined CFX. But the moment I started thinking about this stuff and knowing it's right, it's true that I deserve this as much as any rich person or whatever, my whole field changed, my whole consciousness, my whole body feeling change, just a whole frequency shift again of like, oh, it just expanded my field possibilities much, many more possibilities. And it's a truth when your body feels that shift. It's like, oh, this is true. Actually, we all deserve this. And that's what's been hidden from us as well. Not only the energetic blinkers and, oh, just process forever. It's like, oh, actually, yeah, it's available, but it's been hidden, but now it's becoming available. And that's what Cfx, I think, so beautiful. Yeah. I'd love if you'd explain Cfx.
Yeah, that's right. Let's hear a little bit more about how Cfx actually works.
So Cfx is a forex trading company, okay? But they offer the trading done for us, because to become a forex trader is an art. And it takes discernment, it takes intuition as well. And you have to be emotionally detached from your money story, because forex trading is extremely fast on the nervous system. It's but second by second. You've got to be alert, know what you're doing, watch the markets and so on. So for many people that say to me they're a forex trader or they've done it, I think, oh, yeah. But it's an art. So we have within CFX many traders who are highly trained emotionally, detached from the trades and so on. And the owners, Oscar Lopez and Edwin Abad, brought this concept to the world, where they would offer a contract to people, a very low price contract, to make it available for everyone to purchase a contract. And so let's say you start with a $300 contract. It's an entity in itself, and the promise from the company is that they will double that contract to $600, and when it's doubled, it's finished. You either withdraw it all and go off, spend your money, or you renew that contract and go through the process again of receiving trading returns 5 days a week, because forex trading is only done 5 days a week, or you upgrade to the next package. So I came in with $1,000 contract, and within a year I was on the $100,000 contract, which of course meant I was still receiving the same percentage that everybody was, in that time it was between 1% and 3% a day, but of course that in monetary terms that was worth a lot more. So we have that side of CFX. You can just come in and have your trading done for you and do literally nothing else. Literally, you don't do anything else except withdraw your money and understand your money, right? There's a lot of learning that goes on, especially within my group, my team, about money. Let's face your money story. What's going on? Why haven't you upgraded? And it all comes down to basically coaching. But going back to the nuts and bolts of CFX, so we have the trading part. We also have an academy that is at university level, accredited by the Ministry of Education in Panama. The reason it's in Panama is because our CEO is friends of the president of Panama, and he funded his presidential campaign. And the headquarters, the bricks and mortar headquarters, are in Panama, and you can go there and you can see the trading and all of that. It's a bricks and mortar place. So we have an e-learning and the university, okay? So everyone can learn to trade and being taught by our expert traders. So that's two parts. And then the other part we have is a sharing system. Now, if you come from yesteryear, you'll call it MLM marketing, you'll call it networking. I don't. I just want to share this. And just by using the word sharing instead of networking or multi-level marketing changes the color of it, because that's what we're doing. We're just sharing it. We're not selling it. I certainly don't sell it. I could never sell anything. And we have that side as well. So we've got three aspects: the e-learning, the academy, the trading, and the MLM networking side. So of course, if you share the opportunity, you do get extra monetary rewards, okay? But you don't have to do that. And also we're entering into phase 2, because we all understand that CFX is a new company. It's only 21 months old, so it's still in that phase of being a startup company, but we're going into phase 2, where we are bringing out what is called copy trading. So that means you have your own MT4 trading account, and it's just like having your own bank account. No one has access to that except you or anyone that you might give that access to. And you can see all the trades are done for us. That's what it means. The trades are copied and put into our own MT4 platform. That's being beta tested now. I'm in the beta testing group, and it's going very, very well. And that is also going to be another product that will be rolled out to everybody. Okay, so that's almost coming to completion now. I don't know what else there is to say about it unless people have questions. What I love about CFX is they own everything. They used to have a third-party payment system. That's all been brought in-house, so they own that payment system now. So they own the building, they own the HTML, they own all of the software, and so on and so forth, which is what you want when you're looking for a company to partner with. That it's all proprietary. You're looking at the owners themselves, how they present themselves, how they talk to us. And Edwin Abad is the head of the traders. He is Spanish. His English isn't so good, but Oscar Lopez is kind of the front man. He does the marketing, and he takes care of all the compliance. So really, I just love them. I love the way they show up in the world.
So what happens if someone doesn't want to share it with anyone? Like they're allergic to sharing. How long does it take to do the journey?
The journey from $300 to the $100,000 contract, which will bring you in about $4,000 a week on that. The journey is roughly between 5 to 6 years, but that depends on, you know, the markets and how much returns we're getting. So it's not set in stone. And if anyone says to you that the percentages you get are set, that is a big red flag, because the market's fluid. It changes, you know, it's changed because of COVID, because of the elections in countries. All of the trading is based all around, you know, the world view. So it's very fluid, but it's roughly, Sarah, between 5 and 6 years to get to that top contract without doing anything, just trading.
Yeah, I mean, it was incredible. I started with the $5,000, so it's like £3,700.
Yeah.
I started there. It was money I was prepared to lose because I didn't even know I had it. It was like this bank account, and I opened it and went, hey. So I was like, that is my CFX money. So I thought, okay, I'll put it in. So that's a bit important one. Don't put anything in you know.
Oh, that is very important.
Cry about. So I started that, and then within a few days, I'd made enough to upgrade to the second one because I referred one friend who happened to put in the 20K. So I got a very nice sharing fee.
Yeah.
And that meant I had enough to go up to the 7K package. And already within, I think it's like a month and a half, it feels longer. But
yeah, you're doing really well.
yeah, I've gone up to the 10K package, and I think I made like 1,800 just on the trading 5 days a week.
Yeah.
It's that. So in a month and a half, and then the rest was all referral stuff. So it's been quite incredible because I basically, I've made I think an important thing that people like to know is that all that money that I made, I have access to, and I've pulled out into my Bitcoin wallet every week. So that it's not like held in there and then I upgrade it. I've actually had control of that, and I could do whatever I wanted, and I could have taken longer if I wanted to use some of it, but my mindset is get to the point.
That's contract.
Okay, yeah.
That's a good point, Sarah, that we deposit and withdraw in Bitcoin, which is another handle to it all as well, because our CEO wants to educate people with Bitcoin and where money's moving to. Okay, now this man, he moves in highly influential circles, and he's got a really good handle on our financial system and how it works at that level. You know, we're talking about billionaires and governments and so on. And he has a handle on where the money's going. Now, we all know the US dollar is collapsing. The whole fiat currency system is the currency of debt, and that can't be sustained for spiritual reasons and for practical reasons. So he has a plan laid out for his company, which is all of us as well, for at least 5 years, for what eventuality might happen for the financial systems, because nobody knows really what is going to happen. You know, my deepest feeling is, well, and it's obvious as well, we're all going digital.
Yeah.
But banks are bringing out their own digital coins and currencies, which is not Bitcoin. With Bitcoin, there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins produced. That is in the programming. It's innate within the whole programming of Bitcoin. And that means then, of course, that it can't be reproduced. They can't reproduce it like they do paper money. They can't turn it into, you know, another form of fiat currency. But what the banks are doing, they are bringing out digital coins, digital currency, but it's just an extension of the pounds, you know, the paper and the coins we've already had. The principle is not changing. They're still going to be able to say, well, we're just going to add another $1 trillion to that digital coin we've brought out, you know. Does that make sense how I'm explaining that?
But there's more value. The Bitcoin has a
value, yeah.
value.
Because it's like gold.
Yeah.
There's gold is not limitless. You know, there's only a certain amount of gold. But if you invest in gold, you've got to find where to store that. You've got to find how to break it down into little tiny coins that you can use in your daily life, and so on and so forth. But Bitcoin is, gold went up last year 15%. Bitcoin went up 300%. And that's what a wealthy person looks at. We look at the percentage we're getting, not at how much in quantity we're getting. But I wanted to come back to the company and why we deposit and withdraw in Bitcoin. Yeah. Okay, because that's another string to our bow, and it's more than likely that a Bitcoin product will come out as well. And to be clear, Forex trading is with fiat currency in pairs. Like, for example, the US dollar traded against the euro, the pound sterling, or the Japanese yen, and so on. We don't trade Bitcoin. Okay? That is not the Forex market. But we have this extra thing because Bitcoin is going up all the time, as you've experienced, Sarah. And
down.
Yeah, it goes down slightly, but that's only because all markets, you know, correct themselves, you know. So, and Bitcoin is still very, very new. When I first was introduced to it, it really was like the Wild West. It really was. Honestly, it was nerve-wracking, as much as if we had gone out to the Wild West and, you know, looking for gold. But now all the big corporations have come on board. The banks are coming on board. And so now it's stabilizing, but also the price is being pushed up and up and up, you know.
The other cryptocurrencies like Ethereum, and that's the only one I know off the top of my head. There's one that begins with M, isn't there? Merlo or something. What's happening with them? Are they part of CFX's operations, or?
No. They are what are called altcoins, alternative coins. And they are cryptocurrency, but they are everything except Bitcoin. And there are thousands of them. And lots of people trade them. But also, not to get in too deep with this at the moment, Emma, we have what's called the blockchain, which is the global ledger for every transaction, crypto transaction that's made. And the blockchain is much more than a ledger as well. And a lot of the gadgets that come out now, you know, like new phones and all of this technical stuff, how it's being processed and paid for is going to be on the Ethereum blockchain rather than the Bitcoin blockchain, because Ethereum, to my understanding, when it's being processed, it can be processed much quicker. I don't know if you're familiar with when video machines first came out, going back years and years now. We had Betamax and we had VHS.
I do remember.
Betamax was the better machine, but VHS was more accessible to people. It was cheaper, okay? And all of that. So Betamax was the gold standard, if you like, but that took a real back seat and VHS was brought to the fore. And you can think of it as an, you know, an analogy with Ethereum and Bitcoin. Bitcoin will always be the gold standard. Ethereum is a good one to invest in, but Bitcoin is still the gold standard.
But
so,
CFX, where you taught me that, is that there's all these shiny things. I'm like, oh, I could get involved in that and that and that, but actually I don't understand it. So then CFX is that roadmap where you can take action, and there's maybe not like, you're not going to suddenly overnight have, you know,
no, it's a learning curve for sure.
A learning curve, and you kind of said, look, invest here and then learn the other stuff as you go.
Yeah.
Like start here because that's more guaranteed. Whereas you put your money in Bitcoin. I mean, I put some in and it went shot right up, and I was like, oh, it's nice. And then overnight it just dropped and almost lost half of it or something. And then you're like, it's a riding the storm, and that's fine. It was like money I didn't mind losing.
You do need someone to hold your hand for sure.
Yeah.
You do. Yeah. To me, my philosophy is make your money first, then you can diversify.
Yeah.
You know, I have tried to diversify myself before CFX came along, and I was just wandering in the dark. That's what I mean by the Wild West. And coming into CFX, it gave me a structure for my own learning curve, right? This is going to make me rich. It has made me rich in 18 months. Now I'm in this position where I've got this very solid, sustainable income that I really don't earn. It's an income. And now I have the finances to diversify into whatever, whether it's property, whether it's gold, whether it's silver. But I still think to myself at the moment in 2021 and for the next couple of years, Bitcoin is still the winner. It wins over gold and everything. So my logic and my heart tells me, why diversify right now? Just because everybody else likes doing it. It splits my consciousness. You know? All right, I'll get into altcoins. Oh, I'll get into this. Oh, I'll buy that property. No, Hazel, focus on what your spirit wants. My joy is to, of course, get my own self straight and my family, get them out of debt, which they're out of debt, and we're going forward. And now my strategy is to help others get out of debt. That's what fulfills me. That's my purpose, my mission. I want everybody freed up, because I truly believe that if everybody has their own house, a little garden, you know, they can go grow flowers and vegetables, and they've got enough for luxuries, you know, what a wonderful thing to be able to bring to people, you know.
I have to say, Hazel's group is full of information. It's like you are a brilliant resource for all of this. And for learning and that learning curve. It's been amazing just to be in your group. Actually, you know, I signed up under you, and I think Emma is signing up with me. And then I suppose people that are listening, we were talking about this, weren't we? That if you're listening because of Emma's Healing Money Talks, and you know Emma, then you would sign up with Emma. But if you come in because of my circles, you know, from my group and all that, then you come to me. We'll put links, but I'm so grateful to be in your group, because your mindset, your worldview is very similar. You know, I'm in the same field, and
just what you join, who you join at the end of the day as well. And with Emma and what you ladies do, you know, you're helping the inner part of these people to marry up with what I can offer and what Sarah can offer with the outside. The inner has got to marry up before the outside can come. That's, you know, and that's why it's such a beautiful, you know, puzzle for people to have the two. They need the two, because the way consciousness is expanding, that's the way it works. That's the law. It comes from within first, and then you meet it on the outside. And in our case, it's CFX. We're meeting up with CFX because we're aligned with limitlessness. And when you listen to our CEO, Waskar, he gets on calls every now and again with people, and he talks exactly like we talk. Exactly like we talk. So he knows what he's talking about. You know, he just lovely man.
Comes across as lovely, spiritual, grounded, taking action, philanthropy, looking after people, a calling, a mission. It's just like, wow, okay. What I liked from what you've said before as well, or what it's a fact, is that they're extremely careful with all our money.
Yes.
They only trade 3% of the entire pot every day.
Yeah. Or anyone trades. Yeah, they do. And they're emotionally trained. Yeah. That's what I like about it, because you cannot have emotion in your money story. You just can't, because as we all know, money is a thought form. It's a massive thought form over all of us. And that means that we've all created it. So every single thought charged with emotion, remember, is what creates the thought form, not the thought by itself. So we've got this massive, how many of us? 7.8 billion of us on the planet. Everyone's thinking about money, and it's all going into this massive thought form that hangs over the world. Now, if you are thinking lack, less than, scared to death, terrified of your money story, you're going to put more and more dark energy into that thought form. And then there's the others of us thinking money's wonderful, I've got loads of it, I'm doing so much good with it, you know, and we're linking into that part of the thought form, right? But most people oscillate between the two, so they never get anywhere. You know, they're just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that's how come people make money, they lose it. They make money, they lose it. Then they lose it all. And we're all putting energy into this massive thought form. Money is not just energy. This is something that I hear all the time. I think, no, it's not. Thought form has intelligence. Yeah, limited intelligence, but it still has an intelligence contained within it. And it has, therefore, a life of its own. When we have a thought charged with emotion and it goes from us, it hasn't disappeared. It hasn't stopped thinking of itself and attracting more thoughts the same to itself, because it's got consciousness. But we've forgotten about it. Oh, I forgot that I thought that 10 years ago. But if it was highly charged, it's still in the ether. And we will forget that, you know.
And that's where the energy is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the energy of the thoughts that then
in consciousness, and it comes back to haunt us. You know, and it, you know, so for people to understand that much, you know, is huge, isn't it? Because you know, this is one of my get on my soapbox thing. When people say it's energy, I think, what?
No.
I don't even understand what that means. It's not, it's consciousness, and consciousness is God, is in divine intelligence at whatever level. A stone has consciousness. Whether you believe that or not makes no difference. A stone has consciousness. It is living and breathing. It is moving inside itself. And coming back to the money thought form, that is huge. That is huge across the globe. And that's why we need to show people how to think, which is where Emma and you, Sarah, come in to think, you know. Oh, it's wonderful and it's exhausting. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
Yeah.
And expansive.
Yeah.
And the future as well. I think there's so much at the moment. We can feel this pull of the old, and all this rage that's going on in the world. And it just, a lot of the conversations that I've had during this summit is about what COVID is bringing us and what this peculiar lockdown and everything. For me, it's just this great big opening. And if we're open to the opening, we're going to step in.
Yeah, we're creating our future right now.
Yeah, exactly.
We're literally creating that future. And, you know, bringing COVID into it and all, my perception of that is, and I know from the spirit beings that connect with me, it was either COVID or another war. And the collective consciousness together, whether people believe it or not, we decided, all of us, every single human in whatever country you're in, we decided to go this way, because people have got to go within. They have got to go within so that the outside can be in harmony and can be beautiful for everyone. And that's what COVID is doing. And it will last as long as it takes every human on this planet to get there. That's how long it's going to last. And, you know, for us to get into all the debates and all the opinions about it and, you know, arguing the toss about it just creates that COVID thought form, like the money thought form, you know.
Back to polarity as well, is that it's almost creating the perfect storm of us, them, polarity, pulling it apart, arguing about it. It's like, okay, well, obviously we need that tension to go within or to burst out. I don't know, but I felt this, you know.
I think we've burst out, haven't we? I'm sure we've burst out of it, surely. But yeah, there's a lot that we could chat about. But bringing it back to the money, that's my journey. That's my timeline for now, until it's not my timeline. And I am just so passionate about sharing this and getting people out of poverty. And, you know, in our company, we have many, many, many of us that give away $300 packages to people. There is one given away at least every day. Every day we give away these packages, and many of us privately fund others to get on board. So there's a lot of real generosity going on, and we ask nothing back. You know, it's just we buy the package, it's all in your control. Learn about it, you know, come into the group, learn all that you can, and, you know, take this wonderful opportunity into your life and the life of people that you love.
That's been happening in my group, friends buying friends the package, and really lovely.
That's what we do, yeah. And then, you know, what I think, ladies, is, you know, we'll come together, we're all going to be millionaires, and then we can collaborate at that level, because we're going to need that kind of money to really shift a lot more. And that to me is, we're just at the very beginning, helping the individuals, you know, then we make our money. Right now we can really collaborate, because we're going to need billions to set this world right. And then, you know what'll happen? We'll all have evolved to 560 and we won't need money anymore.
But we need it today.
But today we do.
Today
we do. So there.
Well, it's been lovely.
Thank you so much for your time, both of you. Sarah, was there anything else you wanted to say before?
Just some people might think CFX feels like a risk, and then obviously everything is a risk, and maybe you feel like, okay, I'm going to take this risk and see what happens. But as soon as I took this risk, I actually feel like I'm in a big warm hug of like, oh, this wasn't even a risk at all. It was clever thinking. And it's, you know, it's not like massive ups and downs. It's like steady building towards the promised land, you know, feeling secure and safe. And I find it a really beautiful journey so far. And yeah, I feel very well cared for and looked after. And yeah, I'm very thankful for Hazel coming on today, and that we've done this chat so we can share it in different places. But yeah, thank you. That's all really.
Well, thank you. I'm just after this call going to be buying my wallet and signing up. So
I'm going to talk you through it. That's something lovely.
Yeah, that's what we'd like to hear. Well done. Welcome, Emma. Welcome.
Thank you very much. And as Sarah said before, if it's something that calls to you, then you can reach out to me or to Sarah or to Hazel and come on board. Depending on where your own energy are. And also the other thing we talked about before was, some people it does feel crunchy, and that's fine as well. If it's not your thing, then it's not your thing. There's no pressure about anything.
Absolutely. And to talk about risk, you know, everything is risk, but if you're afraid to take the risk, that means resistance. And resistance means you're trying to control something, you know. So like Emma says, either do it or don't. It's no, you know, the risk means just break through your resistance and do it. Because you know, don't you? I know in my heart, you know, I'm an R about something, but deep down I think, I'm going to do this. I know I am. I just need to process it a bit more. You know, I just need to process it a little bit more. So it could be as simple as that with a lot of people. Yeah, and they need time. Anyway, it's been
lovely chat.
Yeah. Lovely bright morning. Thank you both.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.